So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how hackers hack Wi-Fi. There are many different tools you can use. For example, BetterCap is one of the tools. I prefer the AirCrack NG suite. So let's get right into it. So as you can see, we're in Linux Kali right now, and I'm running two different kind of terminals, and I'm having my trusty Alpha card right here, ready, running to deauth everything there is for you to see. Okay, so what we need to do now is to make sure that it is running in promiscuous mode, which is also called monitor mode. The way to do that is to go into a terminal, typing sudo, because you need sudo privileges, the root privileges, in order to run this program. Type airmon ng and type check. When you do that, you will see different kind of processes. This is kind of important, so pay attention to this. Different kind of process IDs running that will make this AirCrack NG program not work. So what you need to do is to tap one up and type check kill. This particular command is going to check different processes and kill them. So go ahead and run that command. When you run this command, you will no longer be able to connect to your network. So right now I'm offline. I'm not connected to any internet right now. As you can see, I'm showing you my network manager is not running, which is also one of the processes that we killed. If you want to restart these kind of things, the easiest way to make sure that everything is rebooted, just to reboot Linux Kali, just go and press the button and do a restart, and boom, you're done. I usually do that. What you need to do now is to make sure that your network card is in promiscuous mode or monitor mode. The way you do that is, one more time, type sudo airmon ng and go ahead and make sure that you know what your wireless adapter name is. So type IP-A. If you have an older version, you can also use ifconfig, and as you're gonna see, VLAN 0 is the name for my wireless adapter I've connected to my computer, to this particular Linux Kali machine. Go ahead and type airmon ng start VLAN 0. When you do that, it will set the card into monitor mode, and you can see that the new name of the window could be a bit wider. I'm going to make it easier for you to watch. The next one is going to be named VLAN 0 mon, which you cannot see. You can see it right there actually. If you go ahead and just type IP-A one more time, you can see they have a new interface called VLAN 0 mon. Mon is the short term for in monitor mode. So now we're ready to intercept network packages. This is how easy it is for us to make sure that we're ready to intercept network packages, and this is what we need to do. So let's take one step back and talk theory just for a bit of time. You're probably thinking, why is it that my Wi-Fi antenna is not intercepting all signals there is in the air? How can it say no to this and yes to that signal? Well, it's kind of easy. The way network cards work, Wi-Fi adapters, is saying, well, if this package is for me, this particular machine, this particular MAC address, right, then I'm going to receive it, I'm going to read it and do something with it. So there's a slight read of the package header, and that will determine if you can read the package. Putting a network adapter into monitor mode basically enables you to say, well, I can read everything. I don't need to verify that the package is for me. Okay, so let's get back to the hacking. So let's clear the screen. Looks messy. Let's clear the screen one more time. Now we're basically ready to do some action monitor mode. So let's type sudo air row dump.ng VLAN 0 mon and press enter. Now as you can see, I've been there before. I've practiced this technique many times, so it is obviously in my history. These kind of other commands that are grayed out, I'm going to get back to that just a moment. Now what you will see here when I press enter is a bunch of networks in my vicinity. So I will have no issue showing you the networks in my vicinity because I don't really care about it. I see people blacking these kind of things out, making it difficult for you to actually understand and see what's going on. These are public available information BSSIDs in the air, Everything is in the air. And what you can see here is that most of these devices is WPA2 encryption. The one is W3A encryption, which kind of tells me that this is probably a newer version of, you know, some sort of Wi-Fi access point, you know, that is owned by one of the people in the houses around me. You're not seeing that many different kind of Wi-Fi access points on my screen here, because basically we're not that many people living here, and the antenna is only that good it can be. So what you basically can do now is say, well, I want to capture the handshake. Now I'm gonna go this far to show exactly what you do and how to capture the handshake, and then if you caught it, I'm gonna show you how you can crack the password of that particular handshake. So what you need to do now is to make sure that you want to monitor which kind of network we would like to monitor, right? Now, this is where you can go ahead and press Ctrl+C and just go one step back. Before we talk about what we see here below, we can also talk about what we see here. Whoops. What we see there is a small window that I make narrow. Let's make it wide again. We see here a big list of, well, different kind of networks. They all have a CH4 channel, which is one of the more important things you can get to. One also going to talk about the power, which is indicated right here, is the closer it is to 0, the more signal strength it is. Emphasizing that, for example, the one on -40 should be or have a higher signal strength to me. It doesn't describe anything about the actual distance from me to the device. It just tells me that the signal strength is somewhat okay to this -40. The one here called -71 is probably farther away, but you cannot conclude on that by just looking at the actual power. You need to know that, because that is not a part of the measurement here. It's just an actual signal strength indicator. You see other things like beacons and data and stuff, how active it is and what's going on. Also the megabytes, so on. What is most important for you right now is to pay attention to the auth, the cipher, and the encryption, and the ESSID name, which is the name of the actual Wi-Fi access point. So, you see here down below, you see something called BSSID, and you see the word station. Station is some client connected to this particular Wi-Fi access point. So we got one here called 6267, which is this one right here. So that particular Wi-Fi access point right there, which is this one, have this client connected to it. Now, in order to capture the actual handshake of a Wi-Fi access point, you would need to de-authenticate this particular client, telling the client that, hey, you should not be connected to that Wi-Fi access point anymore, and you should reconnect. Whenever a reconnection occurs, the client will send the initial message of initialization of a four-way handshake. So this is what we need to do. What you could do in theory now is say, well, I want to use error dump and tag C for the channel, and let's just for this particular case say this is the network we're going to use. It's on channel 6, so go ahead and type channel 6. And as you saw, W saved whatever handshake you have into the name of whatever. Let's just take this one right there. So you're going to put underscore in it and then underscore handshake. Now, this will actually, in theory, you can just do that and wait it out. And at some point in time, if someone is connected to this particular network right here, and you will be listening to whatever traffic is in the air, you will capture the handshake most likely, right? So what we need to do now is to go ahead and attack this particular client right there. And we're going to use, it's a tool called air replay. So go ahead and type sudo air replay. And I'm going to fill out the different kind of things. And this is going to be a bit, longer. So I'm going to go ahead and put this window here down below so you can see the full command in its original length. I hope that is okay. I do this mid-video. It's difficult not to do it, I guess. So let's take it out. So what you see here is an actual command saying, well, we need sudo privileges, gonna run the command of air replay, which is a part of the air cracking G. You're gonna say a deauthentication packet, which is mode 0. I'm gonna send one package to whatever BSSID, which is some BSSID you have right there. And then you're gonna go ahead and say the client, and gonna fill out the actual MAC address, which is gonna be this one right here, called 3225, blah blah blah. And you're gonna fill this out with the actual monitor name and press enter. When you press enter and you fill this out, you will send a strong amount of deauthentication packages. Well, just one actually, because you type 1. You can also just type 0, which basically means forever. So when you capture the handshake, it will say something like handshake captured here in the top, or something like that, depending on the version, depending on what kind of software you're using. Most occasions just going to say capture handshake or handshake captured. Then we will be ready. And you can stop the top window here from running by just Control-C out. You can ls, and then we have a file right here called Huawei P30 handshake 01 cap. And that is the file we need to use now. We can go ahead and say sudo air crack. And what you need to do now is to make sure that we fill out the particular correct information. So let's do Huawei cap. So what we need to make sure here you do is you're gonna go ahead and give sudo privileges to air crack now, and you're gonna use the word list of whatever word list you find necessary to use, and you're gonna fill in the actual MAC address of the station you're trying to crack. So if you forgot what that was, it was the one that we originally decided to hack, which is the one right there. So 6267 blah blah blah, all that should be right there, and then you should specify the actual cap file. I think for simplicity's sake, you could probably just skip this part right here and just try and hack it directly. The way it would look is something like this. Now, since we didn't really capture any handshakes, it will say like, hey, yo, we have no handshakes. Well, it does say that we have something right here, and the one we're trying to hack is that one here. Is 0 handshakes. So you can go ahead and type 1, and then you can, try and crack it. If you wish to direct the actual attack, you can do the attack B, and then put on the MAC address for the actual access point that you're trying to hack. Instead, you can just use this command right there and say like a more general attack, and then pick the network that you're going to try and brute force. Basically, that's it. What is important is that you make sure that you type the correct letters and numbers. Make sure that it doesn't matter if they capitalized or not. I just want to see them without, I want to see them with capitalization, because for me it seems weird. This is basically how it's done. There's no magic bullet, no wow, you can hack it different, don't fall for any tricks. There's nothing, you cannot crack the packages easy or get the password in clear text in some easy way, no matter what people say. As long as it's WPA something, WPA 1, 2 or 3, doesn't matter at all. You need to capture the handshake, you need to brute forces, and that's it. So let's talk about these pins, security pins, which is 4 to 6 digits, I think it is. There's an actual attack for that, and basically it's a security pin you can use to get access to the actual Wi-Fi access point. Not covered in this video, and people do not really use it anymore, and it's difficult to get a good connection to actually try and brute force your way through using that attack, but it's a part of it. Wi-Fi basically is a choice. It's a interesting space to work in. I just want to say that, if you want to go ahead and play with this, watch the video, follow along, and I'm sorry that I cannot show an actual attack because that's illegal, but everything I did up to the point of doing an actual deauthentication was legal, and I did nothing wrong. So hope you liked it, and see you again next time.